1987, the same platform was used for a 6th generation model, which adopted taller rounding style. This generation won the Car of the Year Japan Award in 1987 and other awards. John here, and welcome to a series of videos about the cars, or some of the cars I've owned from my very first car, and some of the interesting ones I've had through the car I currently have, which is standing right behind me, or rather parked right behind me. This is an addition to the series English Just For You, because it's going to be in English completely, so I hope you enjoy it, and if you have any comments or feedback, just write or mention it in the comments. So hope you enjoy the series. Thank you. Hi, I'm John, and welcome to Lucky Losers, the channel with content for all. And in this video I'm going to talk about my car, the one I had a long time ago in the series John and His Cars, the Mitsubishi Galant. So stay tuned. So I'm going to tell you all about my burgundy Mitsubishi Galant 2-litre GLX. Well, I think it was a GLX. I don't quite remember. Could have been a GLS. Maybe if you're into these cars, you'll know if it's an X or an S. Nevertheless, it was a B-Reg, which means it's from 1984. 1984, the year. So that's 5th generation, I think, or 4th. Okay. I acquired it in either September or October 1994 for just under £1,000. I bought it privately, locally, and that was above my monthly salary. At that time I was earning something in the region of £750. So it's just a bit above my average salary. It was a 10-year-old car when I'd acquired it, so not bad going. Well, I was looking for a bigger car with a larger engine and a more luxury trim, because I just got married. My wife was from Poland, and we were planning to make a few trips across to Poland as well to visit the family, so I needed something big, comfortable and well equipped. So there's something, just the car I was looking for. I was thinking about the Camry 2 from Toyota. I was impressed by the ad in the local paper. The car was described exactly as I found it. So when I went there to look at the car locally, it was most impressive. It was a rainy evening, if I remember. The guy took it out of the garage, drove it out of the garage, and as soon as I saw it, I knew that I was going to buy it. Yeah, even before I gave it a test drive, I knew I was going to buy it. I wasn't going to tell the seller that, though. There may be I let it on that car was mine. The private seller was a man in his 40s who told me that I could easily go up to Scotland in the morning and not have any issues with the car, and that all proved to be absolutely correct. I got a couple of photos, by the way, which I'd like to show you. So a little bit more about the life of that car. I had it for about 15 months before I had to sell it. We did the trip to Poland 3 times and back, and that's where it showed its true grit as a reliable and extremely comfortable car. So the first trip we made to Poland was just before Christmas, 1994. There's a photo when we'd arrived, a day or two later. That's not our kid, by the way. Yeah, there were actually the journey to Poland. It got a bit tough because when we crossed into Poland, it started to snow heavily, and it took us 9 hours from the German border to cover a distance of 300 miles. So it was my first experience of true winter driving, and I didn't even have winter tyres but rather universals. Luckily though, I drove safely. We didn't have any incidents there. There were other journeys I made with the car, notably to the south coast, to the beach, Bournemouth for example, but generally I used it as a commute and for local journeys, plus Sunday trips to the countryside with my wife. So yeah, those were the trips I made. As I mentioned, I just want to show you a few photos. There you go, with the B-Reg. I don't know what that Confederate flag is doing there. Sorry about the reflections here coming through. You will see these photos after I finish my bit. There you go. And this is at the driver's. You see it was well equipped, comfortable back seat, engine compartment. Again here, I'll tell you about this car, which is the last car I had in the UK, in my next video. And this is a photo my wife took. Bit of camera shake, not very clear going to work. So what did I like about the car? Certainly the comfort. Next thing, equipment, electric sunroof, electric windows. First car I had with cruise control. The pleasure of the ride, the low interior noise, but it lacked air conditioning, so I did miss that, especially during the summer. I think maybe the more luxurious models had aircon as standard, but that's what it lacked. And the looks, the reliability too, there were no issues apart from, well, this is what I disliked. Corrosion. There was a bit of an issue with corrosion, which probably in the excitement of purchasing the car I'd failed to notice. Underneath, water was coming in, especially after it had rained. The carpets were often damp after that rainfall. I didn't really have any idea how to eliminate that, and indeed I never did eliminate it just because of my lack of knowledge. I could have taken it, but I chose, especially when we knew we were going to Poland, I thought that it would be when we were going to move to Poland. That was a week or two before I sold it. I wasn't going to do anything. In fact, the damp smell was noticed by a potential buyer when we were trying to sell it. Wasn't something we were trying to conceal, but we didn't want to mention it, and that's the way it goes, you know, when you're trying to sell. The sale itself, I lost obviously money on that car. In the end, we sold it for £350 to a young couple from New Zealand who were touring around the UK actually. So they knew what they were buying. I know that the Mitsubishi that particular car was popular in New Zealand. So we sold it. It was a week before I moved permanently to Poland. And that's the way we parted with that Mitsubishi Galant. Or Galant. So right now, we're going to talk about the Mitsubishi story, and then after that I'll flick through my car scrapbook for you. The Galant was produced by Japanese manufacturer Mitsubishi, obviously, from 1969 as a Colt until 2012, though some models were made for certain markets after that, and there is now a new Galant in 2020. The model name was derived from the French word galant, meaning chivalrous. There have been 9 distinct generations, or even 10, with total cumulative sales exceeding 5 million. It began as a compact sedan, but over the course of its life evolved into a mid-size car. Initial production was based in Japan, but from 1994 the American market was served by vehicles assembled at the former Diamond Star Motors facility in Normal, Illinois. So the first generation of the car, known as the Colt Galant, was released in December 1969 at the new Mitsubishi Japanese dealership called Galant Shop. The design was dubbed Dyna Wedge by Mitsubishi, referring to the influence of shape aerodynamics. 3 models were available, powered by the new Saturn engine in 1.3 or 1.5 litre configurations. 1.4 and 1.6 litre versions replaced these in September 1971. A larger 1.7 litre arrived for the top GS model in January 1973. Initially only available as a 4-door sedan, 5-door estate and 2-door hardtop variants were added in 1970. The hardtop was Mitsubishi's first production passenger car with full side windows and node side pillars. In March 1973, with only 2 months of production left, the cleaner MCA2 version of the lower-powered 1.6 arrived. The Metro, manufactured by British Leyland between 1980 and 1986, and the third generation of the car was introduced in 1976 and was known as Galant Sigma. In many export markets, the car was simply known as the Galant. At that time, the Dodge Colt in America was actually a Mitsubishi Lancer, not the Galant, but nonetheless the Galant wagon variant was sold with the Dodge Colt label in the US and Canada, if all that makes sense. In Australia, the car was made locally at Chrysler's Clovelly Park plant. The wagon version was introduced in 1977, a little while after the sedans. A new 2-door coupe was introduced in 1976 to replace the Galant GTO. 4th generation. Mitsubishi's 4th iteration of the Galant Eterna debuted many new innovations for Mitsubishi. The car was sold as the Mitsubishi Galant in most export markets, although in both Australia and New Zealand it was known as the Mitsubishi Sigma. The 4th generation sedan and coupe were both slightly larger than the 3rd generation cars. Additional emphasis was given to ergonomics, aerodynamics and safety. Shoulder room, leg room and headspace were all increased, and the trunk was slightly enlarged for more luggage capacity. The interior was made quieter, with additional carpeting and other acoustic dampening materials and a double thickness front bulkhead. The wagon version was also changed, although from the firewall back the vehicle remained the same as the previous version. A 5th generation model shifted to front-wheel drive in August 1983 as a 4-door sedan and 5-door hardtop with different styling. 6th generation. In 1987, the same platform was used for a 6th generation model, which adopted taller rounding style. This generation won the Car of the Year Japan Award in 1987 and other awards. This Galant began American sales in 1989 side by side with the previous generation Sigma. Mitsubishi developed dynamic ECS, adaptive air suspension, the world's first production semi-active electronically controlled suspension system in passenger cars. The system was first incorporated in the 1987 Galant model. The Galant range underwent a minor facelift in 1991 with new grilles and other modifications. Also in 1991, Mitsubishi completed a new assembly facility at Barcelona, Venezuela, with the Galant being one of the first models produced. It was sold there until 1994 with various levels of equipment and transmission. The 7th generation was in production between 1992 and 1998 with engines from 1.8 litre to the 2.5 litre V6 with a 2 litre turbo diesel included. There was a 5-speed manual and a 4-speed automatic too. The 8th generation, produced from 1996 to 2006, was mid-size with 4-door sedans and 5-door station wagons with engines from 1.8L to the 3 litre LV6 model. There was also a 2.0 litre turbo diesel. Transmission was a sport 4-speed automatic, 5-speed manual and 5-speed semi-automatic. The 9th generation was in production between 2003 and 2012 with the 2.4 litre engine ranging up to 3.8 litre V6 engine with 4-speed automatics and also a 4 and 5-speed semi-automatic. Finally, the 10th generation, in production between 2007 and 2017, from the 1.8 litre petrol engine to the 2.4 litre engine, which was available in Brunei as a petrol engine. Transmission was a 5-speed manual, 6-speed semi-automatic. Hope you enjoyed this video with John and his cars. In the next video I'll be featuring the last car I owned in the UK and the first car I owned in Poland. It's a rather special car, as you'll find out. Thank you very much for getting this far in the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, like, comment, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe, of course. That's what everybody says. And I hope to see you in the next video. And don't forget, I love you all. So that's for you. And see you again. Thank you and bye. And don't forget to subscribe. Lucky losers. Oh lucky losers, oh lucky losers. Lucky, lucky, lucky loo. Oh lucky losers, oh lucky losers. Lucky, lucky, lucky loo. Oh lucky losers, oh lucky losers. Lucky, lucky, lucky loo. Oh lucky losers, oh lucky losers. Lucky, lucky, lucky loo. Thank you.